Welcome. In the last 30 or so years, as you can see in this video that we are showing here, where you can go and watch a full video on the link given in the video there, there have been a spate of Europeans being initiated by Africans to practice African traditional spirituality. The claim that is made is that these people, these Europeans, have been called, or they have some healing gift, or they love African traditional culture, as well as enjoy African spirituality.
A dance performed to invoke the spirits of ancestors and bring on a trance-like state.
We want to state categorically here that such initiations are all based on a lie. In the conclusion, we will specify the reasons, 3 conditional impossibilities for any melanin recessive person from becoming an African traditional healer, a Sangoma or Ukutwasa. You can also watch the white Sangoma here on this YouTube video on Daily Sun Television. These are all incorrect. On the other hand, those Sangomas, or so-called healers, who claim that they can initiate, or they are initiating, people of other races into African traditional spirituality or traditional religion, those Sangomas are charlatans. They are also ignorant of European behavior. They are also ignorant of European history. They are also ignorant of the blood on the heads of all the descendants of Europeans that committed genocide and the colonization and the slavery of our ancestors. These Africans are selling our spirituality for nothing. Teaching these people to dance our songs, to sing our songs, to cheer our ancestors, and to think that this is a great thing, that umlungu ugida ingoma zamadlo zethu, that is not a correct perspective. No ways about it. All these people that are doing this and thinking that this is it are displaying a certain myopic mentality that is shocking, arguing that this young fella is in love with our traditional culture, and assuming that this is it is stretching our forgiveness too far and causing us to forget that our ancestors went through hell to fight these people of Africa. You have forgotten the Black River battles. You have forgotten all the apartheid laws and regulations and the dehumanization activities. As you initiate them, remember their history. Prove to me that they have repented. Answer us whose ancestors is now possessing these people, who took one of our own brothers, put him in a zoo with apes, and laughed and enjoyed Bushman shares a cage with Bronx Park apes. The African pygmy, that's what they call him, Otabenga, aged 23 years, was brought from the Kasai River in the Congo by a Dr. Samuel P. Venier and put to display for people to see. As you initiate these people, remember Sarah Baartman, our own mother, our own sister, our own auntie, who was taken over to Europe in the 1800s. She became an international sensation of objectification. She was paraded around in Europe, where spectators jeered and laughed at her buttocks. And you initiate these people, prove to me that these people are really, really deeply sorry for what their ancestors did. When they did this to us, we had not provoked them. We didn't go to their continent. We didn't colonize them. We didn't attack them. They just did it. And now you are initiating these people into our belief system. These initiations prove to us that Africans and melanin-dominant human beings have a very myopic short-term memory that causes them to forget apartheid, colonization, and all the other wars and evil, and cause them to love and ape everything they were told by their colonizers, and they think that by giving these people our knowledge and our systems is a very good thing. It is spiritual. It is not. This mental fog and this mental blindness is selling our spirituality and playing with fire. If to become an African traditional healer is a calling, tell me, which spirit is calling these Europeans? Answer me that question. Which spirit is causing these Europeans to love our tradition? If it is our ancestral spirit, I am sorry, it should be cast off and driven out and sent away, because it is blind to facts. It is blind to reality. There is an idea that these people have got black African or melanin dominant DNA. This idea or that idea that in their blood they got black African melanin dominant DNA is a fallacy. If they have these or those connections of DNA and a blood connection, first, when they are called into their craft, where is their report that identify their spiritual marker, their African or melanin dominant spiritual marker? We will not reveal to anybody that marker unless you consult us and ask us. Then we will give you the key for that marker. The marker is a top secret, but every pure-hearted melanin dominant human being, once they are told that marker and they look at them, they will realize that there is no spirituality there. There might be some spirituality, but that spirituality in them is not connected to our ancestors who suffered and died and perished at their hands. The marker should be clear. There are also other secondary markers that should be clear. For instance, Ma'at or pure Ma'at utterances. Have they denounced apartheid and the evils their ancestors did and them did during apartheid and colonization and slavery? Does she know about it? That spirit in them know about it? Has it denounced that? Our ancestors that died in European genocide would never be on their side or possess them. There are no exceptions about that. There are no exceptions about that. The essential philosophy of our African traditional spirituality is that ukutwasa, an African traditional initiation practice, reveals itself via the bloodline. For anyone who wants to become a sangoma, a healer, a magician, because they are then connected to one of their own ancestors via the bloodline who did those works, and then multiplies and increases the levels of those works. Unfortunately, today, most of our melanin dominant human beings that practice the craft of ubunyanga, ubusangoma, healing and magician have been trapped by the tricks of electricity, electronics, and money. Those frequencies for those three things, electricity, electronics or AI, and the money or extremely low frequency, has trapped them. Many of them have been trapped. It's very easy to see. If an African ancestral spirit possesses a melanin recessive vessel or human being, it will be a pretender. It will be a deluded spirit, not the real one. You can't tell me that the spirit of our ancestors, of those that were killed and dehumanized by Europeans, will come back and possess the Europeans for good as a nice spirit. No, you understand. Your understanding is shocking if you say yes. In many occasions, there is a reason why individuals are selected by our ancestors. It is for them to carry on and to pick up the trade and the craft, as well as Sankofa, a time to return to our ancestors' spirituality for the benefit of our community and our race. We want to show also another perspective of a sellout pharaoh and tie it in with our theme that we can never trust and never initiate any other race into our systems. There is a sellout pharaoh, one of the sellout pharaohs, Pharaoh Amasis II. After 548 BCE, he was the last native African pharaoh in Kemet. He was supposed to defend the red line, and he was supposed to sustain the taboos, but he failed. He married a Greek wife, or was given a Greek woman for a wife, his fourth wife. And by doing that, he committed the greatest taboo of interracial marriage, and a war and disaster fell upon us, because eventually he allowed the Greeks to migrate into Africa, crossing the red line. And up to today, we are in trouble. But we want to say that you have to be a little bit academic about all these things. Europeans are pure liars. Straightforward. I'm not saying all of them, but I'm saying their leaders or their leadership, which is their guidance, because you are guided by the leadership or by your leadership. The sellout pharaoh and European lies. Europeans now tell us that Amasis II, the last native pharaoh of Kemet, looked like this. You go to Wikipedia, they tell you, you see this image, they say Polycrates, tyrant of Samos, with the pharaoh Amasis. There is no Amasis who looks like this, but Amasis looks like that. And this is what they are teaching the whole world, not only in Europe, but the whole world. They attack our ancestors, they remove their noses, they remove their scabiros, they kill them literally in their images like this. When you do this, it's killing them. It's killing their spirit. It's killing their power. And they change them now and adopt them. In a spiritual sense, this is now Pharaoh Amasis, adopted by the Greeks. Now he is theirs, despite the fact that he is, or he was like this. That's how they twist effects, and that's how they do it spiritually. Watch our YouTube video to see why we must never initiate any race into our mysteries, even though it might appear right. Why Egypt collapsed. A question was raised in one of the videos that we have shown here, and the question applauded the fact that we should never initiate Europeans into our traditions or culture or spirituality, or even to allow them to learn our languages. How do you guarantee that you are not giving out information of our ancestors to people who will use it against us? You can't. You have to stop initiating them. We still possess the spiritual power of our ancestors in our own blood. It is time for you and me and many other people to ask for that power and a promise to use it wisely, not initiating other races. These are some of the practices that we can be able to do. We want to conclude by a statement by Ku Ankh Ku Binamesu on his Facebook page, Transfer of African Heritage. He says, I implore all black people to join African spirituality systems, because white people are taking over our own or your own rich and powerful spirituality and spiritual heritage, which enabled you to become a medium between your great ancestors and the living. Keep calm. Practice African spirituality. Thank you very much for subscribing to Community Iburu Ethics. This prayer by LM Dumizulu, Kal Kunken Mjakanja Mskanu, saying, send us an email to connect and to work for your ancestors. This is our email, join@marifado.com. Siabonga, Tatenta, thank you, Hinkos.